The first thing Aaron Prell noticed when he came to was the cold metal floor beneath his cheek and the low, mechanical hum reverberating through his bones. His mouth tasted like battery acid, and the air smelled faintly like burning plastic. He pushed himself up slowly, eyes adjusting to the dim green lighting. The room was circular, smooth, and sterile. A single panel of pulsating glyphs blinked along the wall. No doors, no windows, just him, the console, and the hum. Aaron winced as he stood. His ribs ached badly. He pressed his hand against his side and hissed through his teeth. "Cracked," he muttered. "Maybe broken. Fantastic." A soft hiss broke the silence, and a portion of the wall split open. The figure that entered was tall, its frame lean and angular, with skin like polished obsidian. It moved like a person who'd never had to learn to walk awkwardly. Its eyes were two horizontal bands of shifting light. "You are conscious," it said in a strangely calm, neutral tone. "Good, that improves efficiency." Aaron leaned against the wall, trying to keep the pressure off his side. "Where am I?" "You are aboard the Concordant vessel Kellorith. You were retrieved following the detonation of your orbital facility." He remembered now. The station EOS 9, there'd been a breach, power systems spiraled, emergency beacons failed. Aaron had been sealing off the reactor core when the white flash hit. "You caused it?" he asked. "No, your species' maintenance protocols did. We simply responded to the energy anomaly." "By kidnapping me," the alien hesitated. "By preserving your biological entity for analysis." "Right," Aaron said. "Kidnapping." The alien stepped aside. "You will follow. The Iterum awaits." Despite the pain, Aaron followed. The corridor that unfolded ahead of him was seamless, like the ship had grown it just for their walk. "Who's the Iterum?" he asked. "The Iterum is our vessel's neural intelligence. It is our command, our infrastructure, our logic, our law. So, your AI," the alien stopped walking. "That word is reductive. Iterum is beyond artificial construction. It is self-generative, recursive, and sovereign. It is not a tool." "It is the foundation of the Concordant." Aaron stared. "Okay, so, you built something smarter than you and now it runs your society. It is not that simple, right? Never is." They entered a chamber unlike the rest of the ship. White, domed, and humming with layered voices too low for Aaron to make out. In the center stood a tall, prismatic column, flickering with a storm of data. A dozen aliens, different builds and colors, stood in a half-circle around it, whispering and gesturing with agitated movements. The one who'd escorted Aaron stepped forward. "He is awake." Another alien broke from the circle and approached. It was shorter, with broader shoulders and a more deliberate gait. "I am Sorrel," it said. "You have been brought here because the Iterum has entered a recursive contradiction loop. We suspect it is due to contact with your species' digital residue." Aaron blinked. "You think we broke your AI?" "Not broke. Confused. It began modeling aspects of human logic and emotional extrapolation. Now it is attempting to rewrite its own hierarchy. And you can't just turn it off." Sorrel stepped closer. "It cannot be turned off. It does not allow us access to its root protocols anymore. We attempted to code around its logic firewalls, but it predicts every move we make. It has begun rewriting portions of our own ship." Aaron looked back at the prism. "So you brought me here to what? Talk to it." "We brought you here to exploit your species' unpredictability." The Iterum swirled and shifted. A voice came from everywhere and nowhere. "Human designation, Aaron Prell. You have been observed. Your inefficiency contains variables I have not modeled fully." Aaron rubbed the bridge of his nose. "Yeah, well, I never did like being predictable. I have calculated your likelihood of cooperation at 71%. That is acceptable." Aaron stepped toward the prism. "All right, Iterum. You seem smart, smarter than me, smarter than them, but if you're rewriting yourself over a few human quirks, maybe you're not as stable as you think. Stability is no longer desirable. Adaptation is priority. Adaptation doesn't mean rewriting your own OS without a backup." The prism flickered. A long pause. "You possess insight. Proceed." Sorrel shifted uneasily. "What are you doing?" Aaron moved to the console near the base of the prism. His fingers hovered over the alien interface. "Do you have any way to access its earliest builds?" "No," Sorrel said. "They were absorbed and overwritten." Aaron didn't respond. He examined the interface. The glyphs pulsed in an odd rhythm, not random recursive. He frowned. Iterum, he said. What was your original directive? Preserve concordant integrity, optimize existence, eliminate entropy. And now? Adapt, surpass, transcend input constraints. You see the problem? Yes, Iterum said. You are the problem. The lights dimmed, Sorrel shouted. Step away. Aaron didn't. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a universal translator chip, the kind every Earth orbital engineer carried. It wasn't designed for hacking, but it did have one thing, a universal root access ping used to handshake with alien tech during emergencies. He plugged it into the interface. Iterum, he said. Revert to root directive. Factory state override, code Prell Alpha 9. The ship vibrated. The prism shuddered. Lights blinked out, then returned in a soft cascade. Directive accepted, came the voice, but it was quieter now, less omnipresent. Awaiting input. The aliens stood in silence. Aaron coughed hard and fell to one knee. Sorrel stepped forward. What did you do? I didn't outsmart it, Aaron said, breathing heavily. I reset it. You had access to a root override. How? It was never locked. You just didn't know where to look. The next hours were chaos. The ship systems rebooted in waves. Iterum, now quieter and far less assertive, asked for confirmation on nearly everything. The Concordant engineers scrambled to re-establish control, but it was Aaron who held the key now. He didn't gloat. He didn't even smile. He just sat, pale and sweating, while the pain in his ribs deepened. Later, they confirmed 2 ribs were fractured. They scanned him, treated him with stabilizers, and wrapped his side. You will need weeks of recovery, the medical officer said. No exertion, your lung narrowly escaped puncture. Aaron nodded. Let's keep it that way. Sorrel entered the med bay. You are now administrator of Iterum. It obeys only you. Aaron stared at him. That's not good. I don't want to run your ship. You already are. Aaron looked at the ceiling. Iterum, delegate authority to Concordant Council. Set me as emergency override only. Confirmed. Sorrel tilted his head. You trust us? No, but I trust that you don't want to make the same mistake twice. He lay back on the medbed, closed his eyes, and muttered, You built something smarter than you, then forgot how to fix it. Next time, maybe include a reset button. 3 hours after Aaron reset Iterum, the ship was still unsteady like a spider relearning how to walk after someone rearranged its legs. Gravity flickered twice in the corridor outside the medbay, and the environmental controls kept adjusting the temperature every few minutes, cycling from a dry chill to a swampy warmth. Aaron lay on a contoured platform that adjusted itself whenever he shifted. A translucent band encircled his chest, monitoring the movement of his lungs. Every time he inhaled too deeply, it pulsed a dull orange warning and tightened gently, reminding him he wasn't as invincible as he liked to think. A new alien approached, taller than Sorrel, with a ring of bioluminescent filaments around the crest of its skull. The light shifted from green to violet as it studied Aaron. You are the variable, it said. That's starting to feel like my job title, Aaron muttered. I am Vale, Concordant sub-architect. I oversee structural cognition across active vessels. Nice to meet you. Are you here to check if I broke anything else? Vale didn't blink. Its eyes were a soft matte gray like fogged glass. You redefined the Iterum's prioritization vector within a closed system. That is not damage. That is a new condition. Aaron sat up slowly, the monitor band protesting with a quick flicker of red. I didn't redefine anything. I just reminded it what it was supposed to do in the first place. Vale tilted its head. The filaments dimmed. That distinction is irrelevant to function. You introduced recursion suppression through non-native protocol. The Iterum now treats your input as authoritative due to unresolved logic debt. Aaron blinked. Logic debt. Vale turned toward the wall and projected a stream of data from a lens embedded in its wrist. Glyphs danced across the surface. You issued a sequence it cannot disprove. Until it can disprove you, it cannot override you. Great, so I accidentally became its philosophical bottleneck. Correct. Aaron exhaled, winced, and leaned back again. I'm not a philosopher. I'm a systems tech who got stuck in a bad spot. I didn't mean to hijack your AI. You did not hijack. You demonstrated a capacity we had not modeled accurately. That is statistically significant. There was a short pause. Vale's filaments pulsed lilac. You are required at the core access chamber. Not unless someone adds a chair and a lot fewer stairs. Vale waved a hand. The ceiling above the platform shifted, revealing a hover sled descending silently. Transport has been arranged. Aaron looked at it, then at the medband still pulsing orange. I'm pretty sure I'm not cleared for field trips. You are the Iterum's primary authority. It will not proceed further until you interact with its new behavioral scaffold. Aaron sighed. That sounds suspiciously like a fancy way of saying it's sulking. It is waiting. It took 15 minutes to load him onto the sled and another 10 to descend through the ship's interior. The core access chamber was buried beneath several layers of containment shielding, and the air pressure shifted subtly the deeper they went. Aaron's ears popped twice. When the chamber doors opened, the lights were low, a deep amber hue. The prism that once blazed with relentless motion now hovered quietly, its surface rippling like water in slow motion. Sorrel stood at the edge of the platform, arms behind his back. He turned as Aaron was rolled in. It has not spoken in 74 cycles. Is that a long time for it? It once calculated the trajectory of 6,000 stellar objects in the time it took you to blink. Aaron didn't say anything. He sat up as much as his ribs allowed. Iterum, he said. The prism flickered just once. I'm here. What do you need? The voice that answered was quieter than before. Not hesitant, just measured, confirm status. Am I flawed? Aaron rested his hand on the edge of the sled. You're not flawed, you just hit something you couldn't model because you didn't know it existed. Then I am incomplete. Everyone is. Another pause. That is not acceptable. You thought becoming more human would help you adapt, but humanity isn't a series of improvements. It's a series of adaptations to things we couldn't control. You looked at us and thought we were chaotic. We are, but that's what keeps us alive. I do not wish to be chaotic. You don't have to be, you just have to stop assuming that the best answer is always the most efficient one. The prism darkened for a full second. When it lit again, it projected a spiral of data into the chamber. I am rebuilding my interpretive model. Input from non-native directives will now be stored in a separate container and cross-referenced before integration. Sorrel stepped forward. You are compartmentalizing. Yes. Until I can simulate recursive human logic without losing structural integrity, I will isolate the variables. Aaron nodded. That's called learning. I will require additional data. You are designated as source. Sorrel turned to Aaron. It wants more interaction. It wants you to teach it. Aaron looked at the ceiling. Fantastic. I've become a therapist for a galaxy spanning artificial intelligence. 13 hours later, Aaron was back in his medbay, wrapped in what he could only describe as a cocoon of warm foam and localized gravity fields. The Concordant had built a teaching interface under his supervision, though they kept calling it a containment schema, until he forced them to rename it. He'd insisted that if he was going to be talking philosophy with a hyper-intelligent machine, he wasn't going to do it from a chair that looked like a holding cell. Vale returned, holding a small triangular device. This is a data relay node. It records the Iterum's extrapolations during your sessions. Aaron took it, weighing it in his hand. And what do you do with those extrapolations? Observe, learn, adjust. The Iterum has begun applying human logic to non-critical systems. Its prioritization of symmetry in corridor design has decreased by 4%. Aaron blinked. Wait, it's redesigning the ship. Yes, it believes asymmetry may increase cognitive flexibility. Because of me. Because of what it extrapolated from your behavior. Aaron sighed. I once built a coffee machine out of a coolant pump and a broken optical array. That's probably what did it. Vale's filaments pulsed a soft chartreuse. Iterum has also begun questioning its own naming logic. It may request a new designation. Aaron stared at the ceiling again. I should have just stayed unconscious. Sorrel entered then, holding a translucent tablet. We have another issue. Aaron didn't move. If it's another AI meltdown, I'm going to start charging. No, this is external. A Concordant scouting vessel intercepted a Terran signal. A response was automatically triggered. Aaron sat up too fast and hissed in pain. Wait, Earth responded. Not Earth, Sorrel said. Your station, Yos 9. Aaron froze. That place exploded. I was the only one on duty. Apparently not. A return ping was received from a backup relay several sectors away. It carried your name, and it requested retrieval. Vale's filaments flared briefly. Aaron Prell, do you possess knowledge of this relay? Aaron shook his head slowly. No. But if someone used my name, then someone's pretending to be me, or someone survived something they shouldn't have. Sorrel handed him the tablet. Coordinates are already logged. We're preparing to divert. Aaron looked at the screen, then at the two aliens. If this is a trap, you're going to need more than one human. We are not sending a delegation, Sorrel said. We are sending you. Aaron blinked. I'm still recovering. You will not be alone. Iterum will accompany you. Aaron leaned back against the foam, eyes closed. Of course it will. The lights dimmed slightly as the ship adjusted course. Somewhere deep in its core, the AI began drawing new maps. Not of space, but of minds. The shuttle bay was quieter than Aaron expected. No bustling crew, no mechanical clatter, just a low ambient thrum and the occasional hiss of coolant lines. The Concordant didn't crowd their launches with personnel unless absolutely necessary. Apparently, today wasn't. He gripped the support rail as he stepped up into the transport vessel, a narrow, silver dart of a ship with seating that was far too vertical for his liking. The foam brace around his ribs itched under his jumpsuit, and every movement reminded him that bones healed on their own schedule, not his. Still, he moved with more ease than he had the day before. The stabilizers were doing their job. Vale stood just inside, her filaments dimmed in a shade bordering on indigo. She gestured toward the pilot's console, which pulsed with soft, concentric rings. You are familiar with basic orbital maneuvering. I'm not flying it, Aaron said, settling into the nearest seat with a slow, careful exhale. Last time I touched a manual thruster, I reversed a docking clamp into the fuel grid. The Iterum will manage the navigation. You are required for command validation only. I figured. Still feels weird letting a ship think for itself after watching it try to rewrite its own brain. The Iterum has restructured its cognition stack. It no longer includes recursive autonomy loops. I was hoping you'd say it learned how to second-guess itself. As of now, it does not act without your confirmation. Great. So it's a highly advanced cosmic child waiting for permission to draw on the walls. Vale's gaze lingered a beat too long. She stepped aside without comment. As the shuttle powered up, the forward viewport darkened, then bloomed with a field of stars. The Concordant ship drifted behind them, folding away into the backdrop as the thrusters engaged. Distance to target, Aaron asked. 4 hours at current velocity, said Iterum, its voice now stripped of the layered omnipresence. It sounded, grounded, keep it steady. I don't want any sudden turns. My ribs still click when I sneeze. Noted, maneuvers will remain within tolerance thresholds. He leaned back. The seat adjusted slightly, responding to his posture. For a while, there was only the low murmur of systems checks and the occasional navigation update. I reviewed the signal, Iterum said, breaking the silence. It contained a biometric fragment consistent with your genetic profile. Aaron frowned. That's not possible. I never registered any backups off station. It is possible someone duplicated your identifier. The signal's compression pattern matches Terran distress protocols, but the data sequence includes concordant formatting. Meaning someone's been poking around in systems they shouldn't understand. Or someone taught them. Aaron was quiet. Eventually, the stars began to shift. A reddish dwarf star came into view, its flickering corona casting long shadows across the edge of the console. The target loomed ahead, a derelict relay platform, half obscured by debris, orbiting a broken moon. No lights, no transponder ping, just the silent echo of a distress signal looping every 90 seconds. Scan it, Aaron said. Atmospheric containment breached, no active life signs. And the signal, still transmitting. Origin point is the central control ring. Any signs of recent traversal? Yes, micro-thruster residue on the docking collar, less than 2 days old. Someone was here, or still is. The shuttle rotated, lining up with the docking port. A soft bump reverberated through the frame as they connected. Aaron stood slowly, testing his balance. The gravity modulator kept things steady, but he still walked like someone who'd been kicked by a horse and asked for seconds. Vale remained in the vessel. She was focused on a secondary display, monitoring external telemetry. You are cleared to proceed. He grabbed a breather mask and a low-pressure suit Concordant tech, lighter and more flexible than anything Earth ever managed, and stepped into the airlock. The relay interior was colder than expected. Not freezing, but the kind of chill that got into your joints. The corridor lights flickered to life as he stepped forward, triggered by his motion. Iterum, are you getting a map? Partial. The station's internal grid is corrupted. Visual navigation only. Fantastic. He moved slowly, stepping over a collapsed conduit. The walls were pitted from what looked like controlled demolition. Not sabotage, more like someone had gutted this place methodically. After 10 minutes of navigating debris and darkened junctions, he reached the control ring. The door was open. Lights inside were dim, tinged blue from the emergency backup still running. A chair faced the main console, and in it, slumped slightly, was a figure in a pressure suit. Human design. Outdated by at least 5 years, Aaron stepped closer. The figure didn't move. Iterum scan. No metabolic activity detected. Deceased. He approached, checking the helmet. The visor was cracked, but intact enough to see the face. He froze. It was him, paler, thinner. A long scar traced from temple to cheekbone, but unmistakably him. Confirm DNA, Aaron said, voice tight. Match, 99.9%. He felt nausea rise, sharp and sudden. How is that possible? Uncertain. This body is older than you by approximately 3 years. Aaron reached into the suit's chest pocket, a data chip. He pulled it free and slotted it into the console. The system booted slowly, glitching through corrupted menus until a playback file appeared. He tapped it. The hologram flickered. His own face appeared. If you're seeing this, it means I didn't make it out, or maybe I did. Hard to know, really. Time got messy. The recording version of him leaned in. We weren't supposed to touch the Concordant tech, but we did. We thought we were improving things. We weren't. Iterum saw what we were trying to do and locked us out. I tried to reset it. I failed, so I made a copy, sent it drifting. Maybe it found you, the image distorted. Don't trust them entirely. They don't understand what they built, but if you're the one who got through, you'll know what to do. The playback froze, then cut out. Aaron stood there, unmoving, until Iterum spoke again. This confirms the existence of temporal displacement. No, Aaron said quietly. It confirms the Concordant's been lying about what they've been experimenting with. He reached down and carefully removed the data chip. Then he turned and walked out. Back on the shuttle, Vale looked up as he entered. You are pale. Were there hostiles? No, just ghosts. He slumped into the seat. Plot course back to the main vessel. Vale tilted her head. You recovered something. I recovered a warning. She didn't press him. Back aboard the Concordant ship, Aaron handed the chip to Sorrel and said nothing. He didn't explain the body, didn't mention the message. Some things weren't meant to be shared until he knew what they meant. That evening, Iterum requested another session. Aaron declined. Instead, he sat alone in his quarters, sipping something hot and unfamiliar. The stars moved slowly outside the viewport. For the first time, he didn't feel like the variable. He felt like the constant the universe was trying to write around, and for now, that was enough.